Okay. Well, as you well know, anatomy and physiology is a critical basis for any health-related courses students are going to take in the future. But with all the challenges this semester, students may have gaps in their learning that still need to be filled. So what I've done is I've created some review courses that cover the whole semester. I've got one course for Anatomy and Physiology 1, I've got another for Anatomy and Physiology 2, and then I've got a third course that covers all the systems. And I think, as you do also know, this courseware is free until June 30th. So these courses will get students right through the end of the semester, and it will give them the perfect opportunity to review all the semester's material in 3D. So let's go take a look and I'll show you. So here are the three courses. One is Anatomy and Physiology 1, one is Anatomy and Physiology 2, and the third is Anatomy and Physiology Review. And we share these courses via a course link. I can send anyone a copy. I've also put the link addresses up in the chat, but if you've put your email address into the registration, or if you email me later, I'll be happy to send you any of these course links. So let's look at one of these courses. We'll look at the first one. So as I say, these are all set up in the same way. Each chapter contains the same three elements, but they're very, very simple. One is just a review of lecture material. Another one is lab practice. And the third is self-study quizzes. There's no grading, there's no due dates. It's purely for students to use as review. And you can actually set this up yourself and make it available to them in less than 5 minutes, and actually in less than 2 minutes, really. So let's take a look at the first. We'll take a look at the first assignment, and that's going to be from Anatomy and Physiology, the Anatomy and Physiology app. So, for example, students will just, some of you, I recognize your names, and so I know that you're familiar with this app, but if you're not familiar with this app, this is basically an interactive ebook. And students just work through the links on the left, and that's why this is a good review, because it will just reinforce things that they've already seen. And they can interact with the model too. They can spin it around, they can move it up and down, they can click anything they click on is going to tell them what it is. And then they just click on the arrow pointing to the right and just kind of move through it. And then we get into things that are a little bit more detailed. If they want to study even more in depth, they can click on the little book icon and get more information. But it's up to them. Whatever is helpful to them is in here. Now, we also have with this a checklist for every chapter that students can use to review. So, do I know the internal structure of a long bone? Do I know the components and functions of yellow and red bone marrow? You know, all of these things, then these are just basic HAPS objectives. So students can also use this to study. And that really and truly is as simple as it gets. That's the first assignment. So maybe, Mary, we can ask if there are any questions about that.
I haven't seen any questions in the panel yet. Ruth, you had raised your hands earlier. Does anybody have any questions that you'd like to type into the chat function? Looks like not so far.
Okay. All right, so that's number one. That's the lecture review. Now let's look at the lab practice, which is the skeletal system from the Human Anatomy Atlas app. And in this review opportunity, students are going to take the list that you've given them that they've been working on in their labs, and they're just going to take that list and they're going to try to apply it. So anything that you have on the list, let's say that the clavicle is one of the bones that you want them to know, they can just click on the model. They can make it bigger or move it around, look at it from different angles. They can click on the correct bone and they can make sure that they got it correct. If you have asked them about bony landmarks, they can also review the landmarks here. Anything they click on will show them the landmark. And if you've asked them to know muscle attachments, they can click on the little muscle attachment button and they can see the muscle attachments. If students don't know where a particular bone is, they can use the anatomy search button to fill in their knowledge. I'm typing in ethmoid, and there it is, deep inside there. There's a whole ton of stuff that they can do with this model. They can dissect things. Oops, let's get on that. They can dissect through anything to, to get to the structure they want. They can, let's undo all that. They can add systems. Say I want to add the muscular system to this. I've added the muscular system. If you've asked students to, oops, I'm still dissecting. If you've asked students to also learn about attachments, blood supply, innervation, and actions, when they're in the muscle section, in the muscle system, they can click on that little red pin, and that brings up all of these details. They can see the insertion and origin points.
So one of the things here that Laura is showing is the different levels of functionality. So Laura, as you back your way out, you may want to show where that red pin icon is.
Yep.
Just the systems, the ability to layer in systems, and the anatomy search, just to point that out. Because students have a lot of flexibility, and as do you. The nice thing too is that you can't break this. You can click to your heart's content, and you can explore with no problem. Ruth just asked if this is in this content, Ruth, that Laura is showing right now is in the Atlas program. The material she showed before that was the guided walkthrough, that was in Anatomy and Physiology. So this, with the ability to get into this editable image, is in Atlas.
But the beauty of courseware is it organizes it for the students.
Yep.
The students can get it, via My Apps, but this is all organized for them. Here's a lecture review that takes them to the Anatomy and Physiology. Here's the lab practice, and that takes them to the correct model that they're supposed to be in. And it also contains all these instructions. Here we're in the skeleton, so they need to know about how to access the bony landmarks. Tells them to click on the multicolored bone icon in the selected structure box. So it really is totally, totally ready to go.
Laura, Kit has a question about graded assessments, which are not necessarily in this course, but just as you're talking about this, just know that there's a question about the capturing students' efforts in a grade book. So I'm sure you'll cover that.
Well, I'll talk about it right now, actually. Kit, if you want to do that, I've got a million other courses that you'd probably be interested in more. Any of these other courses that I have are correlated to a lot of popular textbooks, and these will have all kinds of stuff in there, graded quizzes. The review course has practice quizzes, but these particular courses that I created are just meant to be for student review, self-review, because everything is, Visible Body is free right now. And they, why not have it available to, as we say, end the semester strong and give them a really good study tool. but I certainly have other courses that have graded quizzing already in there. And then, so maybe you and I should talk, email each other and get together to talk about that later.
And Kit, if you'd like to put the textbook that you're using in the chat function, we can send you a course that's correlated that includes graded quizzes that you don't have to build, so you can include that.
Exactly.
And then Neuron asked if they have to use a laptop, and at this point, and does it work on an iPad?
Yes, I mean, all of this does work. Oh no, it doesn't. Well, it's not free. Put it that way. The free access to Visible Body is only on a laptop.
Yep.
I mean, if students wanted to purchase, they'd have the apps forever, and that's $49.99. But for the purposes of this particular review course, yeah, it only works on a laptop.
Right.
Okay, so the third assignment are the self-study quizzes. And these are basically just practice quizzes. And let's take a look at what some of this might look like. We'll bring up the axial skeleton multiple choice. So let's see. We'll click here. I got that right. Let's see. I'll click here. I got that wrong. And now it's going to show me the correct answer. So there are multiple choice questions in here. There are also dissection quiz questions, and we'll see what those look like. So I'm going to select a cranial bone, get that right. And now I'm going to select the right or left zygomatic bone, and I got that wrong, and I'm going to show the answer. So it's trying to uncover students' learning gaps and then fill them in with the right answer. So students can just take these quizzes as many times as they want. At the end, let's see if I can flip through this really, really quickly. They get a score so they can track their progress. Almost done. There are a lot of them. Okay, I got one right. But students can see what they got right, what they got wrong, and then go back and take the quiz again as many times as they want. So yeah, so that's the third. There's just, as I say, this is a very simple course. It's really taking students just through the lecture part of the course, the lab part of their course, and then trying to, putting them both together with the self-study quizzes. So any questions about the practice quizzes?
So you might want to just walk through. So Laura is utilizing a course, Anatomy and Physiology Review, which is listed in the chat at the very top of the chat. She has the links to this course that you can then copy and paste, and that will add this exact course to your courseware account. Somebody had said they were on the site and didn't see the material, and so you can see here. So you'll need to add this course, and then this is all set up for you to then share with your students. So that's kind of that individual piece. And then any other questions right now about this course? Again, this is set up in such a way so that there's nothing that is graded here. It's a resource for your students that you're able to share so that they can explore and review on their own. You do always have the ability to customize further. You have graded quizzes available, but what we're trying to do is to provide just super easy kind of resources for the end of the semester right now. And it looks like right now we don't have any other questions, so.
All right, so how would you make this available to the students? Is my screen shared that says select bulk editing?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, good. So honestly, it is these 3 quick steps, and I'll do these right now, but when I say in less than 5 minutes, it is want to be in less than 5 minutes. So let's go back to this screen and let's see how we would do this. So let me start from my courses page. So you will have just added this to your desktop, and this is what it's going to look like. Oops, that's not it. This is the one we want. This is what it's going to look like. So the first thing that you want to do is just to publish this for the students. So you just click on the course, click on bulk editing, select all. We're not going to worry about any assignment dates. We're just going to click on publication and we're going to publish. And we can look and see what it's going to look like from the student point of view by just clicking in the student preview button up here. And this is what the students are going to see. They're going to have access to all these assignments in here. Okay, so that's number one. Move this back. Number two is you want to, whoops. You want to invite students. You want to give them the link so that they can get in the course. So I'm going to just click on invite people here on the left, and I'm going to copy the link, and I'm going to just post it to an LMS announcements page, and or email it to students. As soon as they click on this link, they're going to be asked if they would like the free trial, and I bet they will. And as soon as they click on that free trial, they will have access to the course that we just looked at, to all of this. And honestly, that is it. Those are the three things. We just did that. We selected bulk editing, we put a check mark next to select all, we clicked on publication, selected publish, and published the assignments, and then we clicked on invite people, and we copied the link in order to post it to an LMS course page or email it to your students. So really, with very, very little effort on your part, you can make this free resource available to students and really get them through the end of the semester and give, kind of give them the confidence to go forward, because they may be feeling like they might have some areas where they, because of, all sorts of reasons, didn't, have enough material to study from or whatever. But this will give them the safety net that they need to, fill all their knowledge gaps and go forward confidently.
No other questions right now. If anybody's having questions or wants to see material, just go ahead and please post it in the chat. Is this helpful? I hope that this is giving you some good ideas as far as how you can utilize this between now and the end of the semester without too much work on your part.
Yes, and please contact me here. Here's my email address right here, laura.sanhusen@visiblebody.com. If you have any questions now or later, I'm very happy to, work with anybody to get whatever whatever fits your needs set up for your students.
And I just posted that in the chat as well. So Neuron is asking about preparing graded quizzes.
Well, let's talk about that maybe in a training. That's we have other webinars that are about graded quizzes, but why don't I take your email address and I'll email you about it. And
I'll put the link to the webinars that we've done in the past in the chat box as well. So that's another question that Ruth has. So yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and post information in the chat to some additional resources, and then Laura will reach out to you afterwards to schedule a specific training, and you've got resources at your fingertips. So I'll add that information in so you guys can work on your own, and then Laura can personally show you how to utilize that.
That's it.
That's it. So well, if that's it, we may want to even, okay, so so I just posted in the in the chat box, is a link to a YouTube channel, which is has our previously recorded webinars, which has some information about the quizzing. And then Mary Elger says, not seeing the link for the reviews in the chat box. Which reviews are you?
Scroll way up to the very top of the chat box. Go where it's the very first one. I put it in at the very top, and it's the first. It says A&P 1 review, and then there's a link, and then it says Anatomy and Physiology 2 review, and there's a link. So if you copy all three of those and then just paste those into a Word document or something like that, if you click on any one of those links, that will add that course to your courseware. Assuming you already have a courseware instructor account. If you don't yet have a courseware instructor account, please also let me know and I'll get you one. You don't want to sign up as a student. You need to be an instructor, and I need to get you that link if you don't already have it. But here, I'll just copy it myself from it's, as I say, it's at the very top of the
for Neuron and Ruth, who have questions about the graded quizzes, if you guys also want to put in the chat box the name and title of your text that you're utilizing, then we can also send you preset courses that have some quizzes added already included in it. So Kit, you had asked about the Milady Fundamentals of Aesthetics. We don't have a course that is tied specifically to the aesthetics. We have more A&P courses. So I think what we'll do is we'll send you a basic A&P course that will have some graded quizzes in it that you can then choose from as well. So if anybody else is interested in graded quizzes, if you'll just put your textbook or lab manual that you're currently using, we'll send you a course that has some graded quizzes that you can then assign as is, or you can edit and change, and Laura will set up a specific training for you to show you how to do that.
Yep.
So Laura, do you want to go back to courseware and just review again, just very quickly, again, the publish and the invite people link, so that you click on the link at the top of the thing, and then just publish, and then select all and publish, and just review that one more time, just because that's easy to. Yep, perfect.
Yep. All right, well, let's start from my courses, because as soon as you click on one of those links, one of these courses is going to show up on your screen, and you're welcome to have all three of them. This has, of course, just the chapters from the A&P 1. This has chapters from A&P 2. This has chapters from A&P 1 and 2, every system. So we'll just pick the course that we want to invite students and again give to students. So I just click on the course itself. I click up here on bulk editing. I click on select all. I click on publication, because we're just going to ignore the assignment dates. Well, they've already been published. So I just click on publish. And then if I want to check, I just click over here on the student preview button box at the very top, and this will show me what the students will see. And I published it all, so the students will see it all. Then I just have to get students into the course. It's a two-step process. So when I'm back in the instructor view, over here on the left, there's a little link to invite people. I click on that. I copy this link, and then I just go to Blackboard or Canvas or wherever, or I even just copy it into an email to students. So somehow I just put it somewhere where they can click on it. And as soon as the students click on it, they're going to be taken to a screen that says, would you like to try a visible body until June 30th for free? And they will just click on that link, and then the course will show up. They will have created a visible body student account. No payment information is taken whatsoever. And then they have a dashboard that looks similar to this, and that will contain whichever course you've made available to them. And then they just click on it like we're clicking on it now, and they just kind of go through everything. I just want to show you, there's also in this course, I put in a little getting started with visible body module. So if you are not familiar with visible body, that's okay. Students can go through this and get information about how to use visible body. And honestly, for this course is so simple, they probably won't need any of this information, but they might. It's good to know. I've put most of the instructions already in the course itself, but they might want to use it. You know, they might want to really mess around with it, and if so, all the information for them is right here.
Great. So let's see, we've got a couple. So Ruth asked, for those of us who don't have an account paid for, currently we are offering free access for instructors and faculty, or for instructors and students through June 30th. So everything is currently free. Students have access to all 4 of our web apps, which can be found on the My Apps page. Do you want to tab in over to the My Apps page, Laura, down on the bottom left-hand corner? Yep. Students will have access to My Apps, and they can then log in, and what these do is, these are the assignments that she showed you are shortcuts to those apps, so they'll have access to all those web apps. They will not have access to the mobile apps. That is available once that gets paid for, so it's completely free for everybody. So does that answer any other questions about that? Okay. Any other questions? Right now, hopefully this has been helpful. We're working really hard to make sure that you have the resources. You're welcome to reach out to Laura directly. Also, your individual rep. I cover Utah, Texas, New Mexico, and Colorado, and then I have 6 other colleagues that cover various states. So please reach out, any questions. You've got a lot of great resources available at your fingertips, but hopefully this will get you set up and your students set up for success at the end of this crazy semester. So I wish you all well, and we'll just hang for a second in case anybody has any other questions they want to add in the chat box. I'll keep an eye on.